Go get on the track.
Welcome to Convinced and Confident. My name is Sarah Gilmore, and my co-host is Tamara Bluedorn. And each week we bring to you an inspiring message or person that will help you on your journey to self-discovery. Our topic today is ageism in the workplace. Tamara, ageism is discrimination on the grounds of a person's age. Now, you wouldn't think that would still be a problem because it's been 50 years at least since there has been a federal government ruling against discriminating against people because of their age. But it's still a problem. And it's because of negative attitudes that people have towards other people who are older, and their stereotypical attitudes that they have towards them. Just as an example, there were two women who worked for Ohio State University. I guess it was about 4 or 5 years ago. These two women were in their 60s and worked, as I said, at Ohio State University in I believe it was the English as a second language department. I saw this article, I believe, on Flipboard. And they filed suit against Ohio State University, a suit based on ageism. They believed that they had been discriminated against. And what happened was they'd been there for many years, of course, but they got a new boss. So what the boss did first was to create new policies. They felt that these policies made the older worker feel more uncomfortable. They were trying to kind of push him out of the job itself. He would bring in new faces and talk about fresh faces. He finally called them dead wood. He referred to these women in their 60s as dead wood. Well, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. So that's why they filed a lawsuit, and they won. It took 4 years, as I said, but they did win that lawsuit. And it's really sad. And what the sad part is that most people have experienced it who are 40 plus, but they don't report it or do anything about it because they say it's very difficult to win a lawsuit, an ageism lawsuit.
I would imagine it's difficult to prove.
Oh, it is difficult to prove. You probably have to have evidence stacked a mile high, as we say. But even still, 1 in 4 workers age 45 and older have had a negative comment or a negative co-workers have talked about them negatively in regards to their age. 3 in 5 have at least seen it or have had these experiences of discrimination based on their age. And you and I I know of people who've been pushed out of their jobs. I don't know if they thought about it that way at that time, but I know of people, some of them are close relatives and friends of mine, who there's no question have pushed out of their jobs. One such lady, she did a lot of traveling in her job. I don't even remember what the job was. But what they did first is they pulled her off of that, and they were going to downgrade her job. Of course, she didn't want to do that. She'd been in a supervisory position, was traveling. She didn't want to do that. And I think they recognized that. So what happened, she, of course, resigned. I've seen it several times.
So I'm thinking then it's our attitudes towards older people is the reason why. Are we thinking that, because I'm thinking about myself and things you hear, and even joking because I have nieces who are younger than I am.
Would you be 40 plus, Tamara? Is that what you're trying to say?
Some think that. I don't think so.
Because you can't file a lawsuit until you're at least 40.
Some think so. But they'll joke with me, just like they say, no, I don't like Facebook because you older people are all on Facebook.
Right.
Or I have a hard time sometimes with technology, and I'm like sitting here fussing. I've been fussing for 1-2 hours trying to figure out why I can't move this to here and that. And I'll call one of them and they can do it in 5-10 minutes. They've sent me back a response and say, this is how to do it, Aunt Tamara. So I'm thinking they think older people don't understand the technology.
That's one.
Not moving fast, don't
Two.
want to change.
Three.
Have old attitudes about things and things should be a certain way. And, that's what I'm thinking some of the issue would be.
Some of the issues would be.
Yes.
Well, what would happen, though? Think about it. That could be some of those issues with anyone. What if you trained or retrained those older people, the 40-plus people?
Well,
what if you retrained them?
Well, first, I know ageism can be applied to anybody.
Yes, it can.
Folks,
yes, it can.
We're going to focus on the 40-plus.
Right, well, the law says that. Yes. Yeah, the law says that.
Now, what was your question again? What if we retrain?
What if you retrain them?
People are scared that they don't want to retrain, or they've heard negative attitudes from older people that don't want to retrain because we've been doing it this way. We've all heard it. Why we got to change and do it another way?
Okay, so you think that's probably, but think about it again. That's stereotypes. Everything you just said are stereotypes because I could turn around and say, well, you look at the side of young people. They don't want to show up to work. If they went to the party last night, once they show up, they don't want to do what you ask them to do. They want to come when they want to come to work. Once they get there, they don't want to do all the work that they're supposed to. Attitudes are bad. So either side, we're just talking about human beings, aren't we? Either side can be negative. But the problem is we've got to work on it because once we're living longer now, and once you push the older person out of his job, or once he retires as a result of it, he may need that money. We're living longer to live on. Think about it.
When you need that money
when I was 40, I had children in college.
Yes, you did.
And most people, you might have children in high school, college, elementary school. You need to continue working because you've got to help out your family members when it comes to that. Yes. So if you're pushed out of a job, it's a problem. Then they say an even bigger problem or as big a problem is when you're applying for a job and you're older. They say they can look at your resume and tell that you're older. Now, some older people like me say what they've done is they've fixed the resume so that you could not tell that they were older. So they would get a response. You would call them for an interview, and the phone interview went beautiful. But guess what? When you showed up for the interview, what do you think happened?
No, it wasn't a great greeting.
That's exactly right, because they were expecting someone younger. I've been told even on the phone, I'll say something like, oh, well, I'm such and such age. Such. Oh, you don't sound like you're that old. So isn't that what we're talking about? What do you mean you don't sound like you're that old?
So how do you think, or what do you think could help solve some of that? I have an idea. What I think.
Okay, tell me what you think then.
I think if we communicated more and we're around each other more, the young and the old.
Exactly. Haven't you found that to be a good way to handle it? Because sometimes we're called old head or old hat.
Yes, and I found in the workplace where I'm hiring.
Yes.
I'm going to just say it.
Say it.
I have a little more drama in the houses that have young people. And it stresses me.
Exactly.
Because it's, to me, young people stuff. And it's like, really? We're really fussing about this. Then my house where somehow I've hired and put older people in one house. It wasn't intentional. I don't know how. I guess it was subconscious.
Right.
Somehow, based off of the clients and stuff, I have them in another house. And it's such a calmer house.
You know what I think it is? The older person has learned how to work. They have honed their skills. They're basically going to come on time as they're scheduled to do so. Right?
Yes.
They try to learn the job.
Yes.
They're going to do the job. They know how to work. They've had probably many jobs. If they haven't had many, they were on one job for 20, 30 years. They know how to work. And somehow or other, we haven't figured out yet how to teach the young people that same thing.
Well, now what I do, I'm trying to mix it up and put a mix in the house.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
So that everybody can learn from each other and use each other's strengths and weaknesses is one way I'm doing it.
Exactly. And what I've also found, there are, as I said, I talked about the reasons where older people may still need to work. 45 plus still needs to work. That we were talking about them still supporting children that were in school or in college. At 40 and 45, you still need to save more for your retirement. As I said, we're living longer. You're not finished yet. So you need to work to save more for retirement. 10% of people 45 plus say they just enjoy working still.
A purpose.
Purpose.
Yes.
Purpose. There's nothing better than purpose. Every day when you get up, you've got a purpose. Not only that, it helps keep us mentally active. You know, they're saying that Alzheimer's is on the rise, on the increase, simply because we're living longer nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But think about what working does for you mentally as you age.
Well, it gives you a positive self-image.
Exactly.
And so I would imagine as a nurse that my client or the person I'm looking at is going to have a better memory.
Yes.
Be happier.
Yes.
Probably live longer.
Yes.
I feel good about myself. So don't we want that for everyone?
Yes. Decrease in the amount of depression I read.
Yes.
Because I have a purpose.
Yeah, probably a decrease in
Yes.
chronic illnesses.
In chronic,
I have a purpose and I want to be healthier to live and do whatever I'm doing.
Not only that, I have insurance because I work. Therefore,
you can go to the doctor.
I can go to the doctor. Or if I don't have insurance, I do have a check. I can go to the doctor and take care of myself. And that makes all the difference in the world. Those who have lost their jobs due to age discrimination, they know that they're not going to be able to find another job that will make as much money as they made before. They're not going to be able to find it. That's very difficult to do.
I haven't thought about that.
Yeah, no, that's something we don't think about. There's one major company that we know of, particularly in North Carolina. They decreased their workforce by 20,000 people age 50 and over in the last 5 years. They developed a plan. They say they're reorganizing. That's what they'll call it, reorganization. And they decreased their payroll of employees, 20,000 in 5 years.
So what do you suggest?
That's a lot of people. Well, I always look at it this way. First, try to keep your skills current as you possibly can. You may get pushed out still. There's nothing you can do about getting pushed out. You may have to start your own business. You may need a side job.
Yes, that's
if
true.
if you're working for some of these larger corporations particularly, you might want to have you a little job on the side. So if you do get pushed out, you aren't totally jobless and you still have a purpose right there.
And I also think society as a whole has got to rethink how we think about getting older. When you think about it, there's all of these cosmetic surgeries.
Yes.
And stuff. So we say getting older is bad.
That's right.
Instead of this person
honoring it.
Yes. Has some honor.
Yes.
Wisdom.
Yes. You know, America it seems more than anybody else, it's a youth culture that's most popular here. That in many other countries, that's not necessarily true. They honor their old and people feel good about aging because you've got wisdom. Companies call workers, believe it or not, this is not good, human capital. They think about it the same way as they think about buying a new machine. You know, you buy yourself a new copier or a new truck or a new tractor for your company to run your business, and you run it for a certain number of years. That's called its shelf life. You know that it's only going to last but so long. Unfortunately, they see the worker the same way. Once the shelf life is over of a new tractor, they're going to get rid of that old one and buy a new one. And companies seem to see workers or employees as human capital, and they treat them the same way. After a certain number of years, your shelf life is over.
I think that's horrible.
It is horrible, but that is how it's done. That is how it's done. And it's really frightening when you think about it. There are several signs for a person to kind of recognize that you've been discriminated against, because I'm not sure people,
I would like to hear that.
Yeah, I'm not sure people really know it. There are a couple of signs. And one is called the coded comments. If people keep saying things around you like, we really need energetic people on this job, or we want some fresh faces. Now, what's wrong with a face that's 50 plus? Once you wash it and put some makeup on it, or even without the makeup, why isn't that called a fresh face?
That's a fresh face.
That's a fresh face. Or we need some new blood. Those are coded comments. You have to watch that because that has a little bit, if not a lot, to do with age discrimination. You also want to watch out with what we call different dealings. Wait a minute. The only people that get to go to the new training are the young people. You don't send the older people to the training. Nobody else gets these new skills but just them? Or are they the only ones, young people? Are they the only ones that are getting the promotions? You've been skipped over for promotion over and over and over. And the young people are getting the promotions, whereas you're the one with the skill. That's something to watch. And it's just the way it works. And these are the things you have to watch for at all the times. And I agree with you, Tamara. Older people, we don't understand the technology. We don't do the social media all the time. They talk about these kinds of things. We don't. They also feel we don't work as hard as they do, but we do. There's also something called lopsided layoffs. Now, you know what that is, right?
Yes.
What would that be?
You're going to lay off.
You lay off.
All the older people and these younger people and do a hiring.
That's right. That's like that 20,000 plus was done at that major corporation. I won't dare call the name because everybody would know who I'm talking about. But that's lopsided layoffs all the time. And you have to watch that.
So I think that it's just society as a whole has really got to catch a grip with what we think about getting older is.
It is. It is something we need to work on.
And I'll say I read an article, and it was about the gerontologist did a study in 2013.
What did he say?
And did a focus group on Facebook group.
Okay.
To just see what was out there. And it said that most of the groups that talked about older people were created by 20-year-olds. And I was like, really? That was interesting.
They talked how about older people?
Hold on, here we go.
Okay.
Then 75% of those groups criticized older people.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Then another 40% out of those groups spoke about wanting older people banned from shopping and driving. Because, we'll say they're slow. Can they get out the way? Can they hurry up? I mean, I've noticed myself like, oh, gosh, she's writing a check. Who writes a check anymore?
I write checks.
Please slide your card and let's keep this moving.
I write checks.
It drives me crazy when I'm with you.
But my checks go through as fast as your card. Now, do they not?
Oftentimes.
Yes, they do. As fast as your card.
Really writing a check.
Yes.
Not already have it filled out.
I don't trust that card all the time.
What she was going to do. So, I even check myself that we have to slow down.
Yes.
And think about really what we're doing and why we're doing it. And we're not the only ones here.
Exactly. And if you really think about it, if you are blessed to live, you're going to be what we call older people one day.
And the way healthcare is.
Yes.
As far as improvement.
Yes.
And care. If you can get access to that,
you can get access,
you're going to live longer.
Right. You're going to be an older people, as we call it one day.
Exactly.
There is a quote that says, there is a fountain of youth. It is your mind, your talents, the creativity you bring to your life and to the lives of the people you love. When you learn to tap into this source, you will truly have defeated age. Sophia Loren.
That's our show, and we thank you for listening. If you like our show, Convinced and Confident, please leave us a rating and download us on Apple Podcasts and Google Play.